Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're gonna look at DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
Yeah, DeepSeek, and I think this is really interesting because it kind of ties into some of the other stuff we've been talking about lately, like the big shakeups happening in Silicon Valley,
hmm
and how these new AI companies are sort of like changing the game, and of course this all ties back to like what we've been seeing with the billionaires and how their fortunes have been
Impacted.
exactly impacted. Yes.
So DeepSeek is it's a Chinese AI company that's making waves with a very particular approach. And, it's not really about creating the next chatbot
Right.
or, even winning at Go like we saw some years ago.
Yeah.
DeepSeek is all about reasoning and decision-making AI.
And that's kind of a key distinction, right? I mean, we've
Yeah.
seen a lot of AI that's, very good at like mimicking human language or, doing
Yeah.
these sort of like specific tasks.
Absolutely.
But DeepSeek is
It's about understanding complex systems, analyzing data, and really, I think, mimicking human thought processes more than anything else.
right. And I think that's where it gets really interesting because it's not just about, like a cool tech demo or,
Mhm.
something they can write a poem or,
Right.
play a game. It's about like actually, you know,
Making decisions,
making decisions. Yeah. And having,
impacting the real world.
exactly impacting the real world.
And they've also embraced this open source model. So they're essentially inviting global collaboration.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? Because I think the open source thing is really important here. I
Yes.
mean, it's kind of a geeky detail, but it has huge implications, right?
Yeah.
Because it means that they're not keeping all this, this incredible technology under wraps. They're basically saying, "Hey, everybody, come play with this,"
Yeah, it's not proprietary.
you
They're
know,
making it accessible to developers around the world.
which is kind of the opposite of what we've seen from a lot of other AI companies, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about OpenAI and how
Yeah.
they've kept their most advanced models, very close to the chest.
Yeah, it's a totally different approach.
Yeah,
And I think it speaks to like a different philosophy almost, right?
absolutely. A different philosophy about AI.
Yeah, and what what its role should be in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And, when we talk about impact, we have to talk about the financial side of
Oh
things.
yeah, this is where it gets juicy.
This is where things get really interesting because
Yeah,
we're seeing some of the wealthiest people in the world
taking a hit.
taking a significant hit.
Right.
And, it really underscores the fact that this is a seismic shift happening in the tech industry.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to kind of like, read the headlines and be like, oh, so and so lost, billions of dollars, but
Right.
like, but it speaks to something much bigger, right?
Absolutely. It speaks to a shift in investor confidence and how the market is reassessing its bets on the future of AI.
Exactly. And so let's get into some specifics here because I know we've got some pretty eye-popping numbers to talk about,
Yeah.
starting with Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
The Tesla and SpaceX guy.
Right. The visionary.
Well, his reported losses are pretty staggering. We're talking about a $90 billion drop.
90 billion.
Now, granted, he's not exactly, hurting for cash,
Right.
but 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 that's a huge chunk of change.
That is significant. And I think what's really interesting here is how it connects to the market's perception of Tesla.
Okay.
Because while Tesla is obviously known for its electric vehicles, a big part of its future hinges on AI, particularly when it comes to self-driving technology.
Yeah.
And with DeepSeek's advancements, I think investors are starting to question whether Tesla can maintain its edge in that AI race.
So it's almost like DeepSeek is kind of like raising the bar
Absolutely, raising the bar.
for everybody in the AI space.
Yeah, and forcing everyone to reevaluate their strategies.
And Tesla's not the only one feeling the heat. Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook
The metaverse?
metaverse guy. Well, he's reportedly down $11 billion.
11 billion.
And I think that's interesting because, remember all the hype around the metaverse
Yeah.
is all anybody could talk about for a
It
while.
was the next big thing.
And now it seems like the spotlight has kind of shifted away from that and onto, this real world potential of this advanced AI.
Yeah, that's a really good point because DeepSeek is all about solving real-world problems through reasoning and decision-making.
Right. And I think that's what investors are looking for now.
Absolutely.
They're looking for,
Tangible results.
tangible results. Yeah. And maybe the metaverse just isn't, delivering on that promise yet.
Right, and it's too early to tell.
Too early to tell. Yeah.
But it's fascinating to see how investor sentiment is shifting.
And it's not all doom and gloom for all the tech titans, though, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Jensen Huang,
CEO of NVIDIA.
yeah, he's actually praised DeepSeek's approach, even though he's reportedly down $20 billion himself.
20 billion.
So, I mean, he's obviously, taking a hit.
Right.
But he seems to recognize the significance of what DeepSeek is doing.
Absolutely. I think he sees it as a potential game changer.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because he's actually been quite vocal about the need for a more open collaboration in the AI industry.
So he's kind of like putting his money where his mouth is in a way, even though it's,
Yeah, even though he's losing money.
even though it's costing him money. Yeah.
I think he sees the bigger picture.
And I think that's what's really fascinating about this whole DeepSeek story is that it's not just about like, who's up and who's down in the stock market.
Right.
It's about like a fundamental shift in how we think about AI
Yeah, and how it's going to impact the world.
and how it's going to impact the world.
It's a new era of AI.
Yeah. And I think, we're just starting to see the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just the beginning.
Yeah. So now let's get to the heart of the matter here. The AI battle that's brewing.
Okay.
DeepSeek versus ChatGPT.
Versus ChatGPT.
It's like a clash of the titans, but with, code instead of swords.
I love that analogy because it really does feel like an epic showdown.
Yeah.
And I think what makes this comparison so compelling is that they represent two very distinct approaches to AI.
Right.
ChatGPT has become almost synonymous with AI for a lot of people because it's so good at what it does.
Yeah. I mean, it's everywhere now.
It's everywhere.
It's in our phones. It's in our computers.
It's writing our emails.
Yeah, it's writing our emails.
It's amazing.
It's really impressive.
It is. But DeepSeek is coming in with a different focus.
Right.
It's not about generating human-like text or having witty conversations.
It's about problem solving.
It's about solving complex problems through reasoning and logic and,
like a deeper level.
yeah, a much deeper level of understanding.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this competition so fascinating because it really begs the question.
Is DeepSeek a ChatGPT killer?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still early days, but I think it's definitely shaking things up.
Yeah, and I think the open source aspect of DeepSeek is really important here.
Yes.
Because it means that they have the potential to kind of like crowdsource innovation in a way that OpenAI can't.
Right. They're tapping into a global network of developers.
Yeah, and that could give them a real advantage in the long run.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's making a lot of people in Silicon Valley nervous
Yeah.
because the old rules don't seem to apply anymore.
Right. And I think that's what makes this whole story so exciting.
Yes.
I mean, we have this like this incredible new technology that's emerging, and it's kind of like the Wild West out there right now. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen.
Right. It's a very dynamic landscape.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so much fun to talk about because it's like we're witnessing history in the making.
We really are.
And who knows what the next chapter is going to hold.
That's the exciting part.
That's the exciting part.
Yeah. And, we've talked a lot about the big picture stuff, the financial implications, the competition with ChatGPT. But I think it's important to remember that this technology has the potential to impact all of our lives in very real ways.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to dig into next.
Absolutely. We're going to explore how DeepSeek's AI is being used to solve real-world problems.
So stay with us because things are about to get even more interesting.
We'll be right back. All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper into the tech behind DeepSeek and, why it's got everybody so excited.
Yeah, I mean, we keep hearing this phrase, reasoning and decision-making AI.
Right.
But what does that actually mean?
Yeah, what does it mean and how is it different from, say, a chatbot that can write a haiku or a program that can, beat a chess grandmaster?
Right, like we've seen a lot of AI that's, impressive in its own way.
Yeah.
But DeepSeek seems to be doing something different.
And it really is, I think the key difference is that those other examples, they often rely on pattern recognition and probability.
Yep.
So they're really good at finding patterns in data and then using those patterns to, make predictions or generate outputs.
Right.
But DeepSeek is designed to actually analyze complex situations.
Like understand them.
Understand the relationships between different factors.
Like cause and effect.
Exactly. Cause and effect, weigh potential outcomes, and then draw logical conclusions.
So it's not just about spitting out text or making a move on a chessboard.
Right.
It's about actually understanding the problem and then figuring out the best solution.
Exactly. And that's a huge leap forward in terms of AI capabilities.
Yeah. So where could we see this kind of technology being applied? Like, what are some real-world examples?
Oh, there are so many possibilities, and that's what's so exciting about this.
Yeah.
But let's start with finance, because I think that's a really obvious one.
Oh.
I mean, imagine DeepSeek being able to sift through massive amounts of financial data, spot trends that humans might miss,
Right.
and then assess risk with a level of accuracy that we've never seen before.
So it's not just about, picking stocks.
Yeah.
It's about, like, transforming how the entire financial system works.
Absolutely. And that could have huge implications for everything from, investment strategies to global economic policy.
Wow.
And that's just finance. We could talk about healthcare.
Well,
Imagine DeepSeek analyzing your medical history, your lifestyle, your genetic data to create a personalized health plan.
so it's like having a doctor that knows you better than you know yourself.
It's like having a 247 health advisor in your pocket.
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
It is. And think about the potential for drug discovery.
Mm.
DeepSeek could analyze vast amounts of research data, identify promising new treatments,
Right.
pinpoint the most effective therapies for specific conditions. I mean, we could see a rapid acceleration in medical breakthroughs.
Wow.
And then there's education. Imagine AI tutors that can adapt to your individual learning style,
Huh?
provide personalized lessons and feedback.
So, like, no more one-size-fits-all education.
That education could become truly personalized and accessible to everyone.
That's a pretty powerful idea.
It is. And this is just scratching the surface. We could talk about law. We could talk about transportation.
And the possibilities seem endless.
They really do. And that's both exciting and a little bit daunting.
Yeah. I mean, it's exciting to think about all the good that this technology could do.
Right.
But it also raises some questions about, the potential downsides.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
any technology this powerful comes with risks,
Hmm.
and we need to be mindful of those.
So what are some of the things that we need to be thinking about?
Well, bias is a big one.
Okay.
If the data used to train DeepSeek is skewed or incomplete, the AI could perpetuate those biases in its decision-making.
So garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. We need to make sure that the data is diverse, representative, and free from harmful prejudices.
And I guess that's true for any AI system, right?
It is, but it's especially important for something as powerful as DeepSeek.
Yeah, because the consequences could be pretty significant.
Absolutely. And then there's the question of transparency. We need to understand how DeepSeek is arriving at its conclusions.
Right. It's not enough to just trust the AI blindly.
Exactly. We need to be able to scrutinize its reasoning process.
Like, we need to be able to understand why it's making the decisions it's making.
Precisely. And that's going to require a lot of work from the developers to make sure that these systems are explainable.
So it's not just about building smart AI.
Right.
It's about building trustworthy AI.
Absolutely. And that's a challenge, but it's a challenge that we have to meet.
Yeah, because the stakes are pretty high.
They really are.
So we've talked a lot about DeepSeek in a vacuum.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to the competition with ChatGPT.
Okay.
These are two very different approaches to AI.
Right.
How do their strengths and weaknesses compare?
Well, I think ChatGPT has proven itself to be incredibly good at generating human-like text.
Yeah, it's amazing what it can do.
It can write stories, answer questions, even compose music.
Right.
But it excels in the realm of language. DeepSeek, on the other hand, is designed for a different kind of intelligence.
Right. It's about logic and reasoning.
It's about understanding complex systems, analyzing data, and making decisions based on those analyses.
So it's not really a case of one being better than the other.
Right.
They're just different tools for different tasks.
Exactly. It's like comparing a paintbrush to a sculptor's chisel. Both are valuable tools, but they serve distinct purposes.
I like that analogy.
ChatGPT is the master of language and creative expression.
Okay.
DeepSeek is the architect of logic and strategic decision-making.
So they both have their own unique strengths.
They do, and I think that's why this competition is so interesting, because it's not clear who's going to come out on top.
Right. It's not like a zero-sum game.
Exactly. Both of these companies are pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI, and I think we're going to see some amazing things come out of this competition.
Yeah, it feels like we're on the cusp of a new era.
We really are, and it's an era that's full of both promise and peril.
So how do we make sure that this new era is a positive one?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it comes down to being aware of the risks, being proactive in mitigating those risks,
Right.
and having a thoughtful conversation about how we want to use this technology.
So it's not just a technological challenge,
No.
it's a societal challenge.
It's a societal challenge, and it's one that we all need to be a part of.
So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think the key takeaway is that the future is not set in stone. We have the power to shape how AI is developed and used.
Right.
So stay informed, stay engaged, and be a part of the conversation.
Excellent advice. We'll be right back. All right, so we've talked a lot about DeepSeek, the company, the
Yes.
technology, the competition, the implications.
Yeah.
But now let's get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
How is this going to affect me, the average person just trying to get through the day?
I think that's the question that everyone's asking, right? And the
Yeah.
truth is we're still in the early stages of this AI revolution. So it's hard to predict exactly how things are going to play out.
Yeah.
But I think we can start to see some of the ways that this kind of advanced AI is going to touch our lives.
Right.
And one of the most obvious areas is going to be in the realm of everyday technology.
Through like our phones and our computers.
Exactly. Imagine a world where technology is truly intuitive, almost like an extension of your own thinking.
Okay.
That's the potential of DeepSeek's AI.
So no more, wrestling with those frustrating app interfaces.
Yeah.
Or trying to phrase a question just right for a virtual assistant.
Right. Think about your smartphone, anticipating your needs, suggesting the perfect playlist for your mood,
Right.
or even drafting an email based on a quick voice note.
So it's like technology that actually understands us.
It's about technology that understands context and
Yeah.
adapts to you rather than the other way around.
Okay, so that's like the big picture stuff.
Yeah.
But what about some more concrete examples?
Yeah.
Like we talked about healthcare earlier.
Healthcare is a great example.
Yeah.
Imagine DeepSeek analyzing your medical history, your lifestyle, your genetic data
Right.
to create a personalized health plan.
So it's like having a doctor that knows you inside and out.
Yeah. Or a 247 health advisor in your pocket.
Okay.
It could help you manage chronic conditions, alert you to potential risks,
Wow.
even suggest preventative measures before issues arise.
That's pretty amazing.
It is. And think about the potential for drug discovery.
Okay.
DeepSeek could analyze vast amounts of research data,
Right.
identify promising new treatments,
Right.
pinpoint the most effective therapies for specific conditions.
So we could see like a huge acceleration in medical breakthroughs.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about education?
Education is another area where AI is going to have a huge impact.
Yeah.
Imagine AI tutors that can adapt to your individual learning style, provide personalized lessons and feedback.
So no more one-size-fits-all education.
Right. Education could become truly tailored to each individual's needs and pace.
Okay, so that's healthcare and education. What about the job market?
Well, the job market is definitely going to be disrupted by AI.
Right.
But I think that disruption can be a positive thing.
Okay.
Imagine DeepSeek analyzing emerging job trends
Right.
and recommending training programs to ensure that you have the skills needed for the jobs of tomorrow.
So it's like AI helping us stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. It's about using AI to empower people to adapt and thrive in a rapidly changing world.
Okay, so this is all incredibly exciting.
It is.
But it also raises some big questions.
It does.
If AI becomes this integrated into our lives,
Yeah.
how do we ensure that it's used ethically and responsibly?
That is the most important question that we need to be asking right now.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to a few key things.
Okay.
First, we need transparency.
Okay.
We need to understand how these AI systems are making decisions.
Right, especially when those decisions have a significant impact on our lives.
Exactly. Second, we need accountability.
Right.
If an AI system makes a mistake or causes harm, there needs to be a way to hold it accountable.
So it's not just about building smart AI.
Right.
It's about building trustworthy AI.
Absolutely. It's about making sure that these systems are aligned with our values.
Our human values.
Yeah, and that they're used to benefit society as a whole.
Okay, so that's a pretty tall order.
It is, but it's a challenge that we have to rise to.
Yeah.
Because the stakes are simply too high to ignore.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of DeepSeek,
Yeah.
what's the one thing that you want our listeners to take away from this conversation?
I think the most important thing is that the future is not predetermined.
Okay.
We have the power to shape how AI is developed and used.
Right.
So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged in the conversation.
Yeah, because this is a conversation that's going to affect all of us.
It will.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time.